Hi, welcome or welcome back. Today we're uncovering 10 underrated DOS platformers that deliver fresh fun. Ghost-busting graffiti duo, multi-powered furry creatures, soccer ball combating kit, you name it, it's here. So fire up DOSBox or your classic system and let's get started. While Yojo Beat the Ghost's first drop on the Amiga, DOSport followed shortly after, in November 1993, and it was equally as good. It's a two-player side-scrolling co-op romp in which, playing as graffiti artists Joe and Ned, you have to blast through 6 spooky stages: Haunted House, Ancient Pyramid, Aztec Temple, Japan, because everyone knows that it's haunted, then New York Metro, and finally Futuristic City. And while these are chock full of enemies, big and small, often hiding in least expected spots or attacking you from all sides, you have a whole assortment of weapons to defend yourself with: chainsaws, nunchakus, Molotov cocktails, baseball bats, and more. The level design mixes enemy combat with environmental hazards, collapsing floors, spike pits, water traps, and rewards exploration. The stages are mostly designed to have multiple routes leading to same locations, often offering different pickups and challenges. All the enemies, mini-bosses and bonus stages aside, what you really have to do in each level is just get to the exit to progress through the game, and all of that to supposedly find and defeat a villain going by the name of Professor X. Yojo is fast, action-packed and beautifully animated. And even if I can't show you how simultaneous multiplayer looks like today, as I'm here all by myself, playing it with a friend on the same screen at the same time is something truly special, and an experience you hardly ever get to have outside of this retro platformer. Fury of the Furries hit MS-DOS like a sledgehammer in 1993. It was ported straight from the Amiga and landed on the system same way the titular creatures did on their home planet. So with a big boom, clouds of dust, and then overwhelming and deafening silence. It was a gigantic hit on the Amiga, and yet, on PC it never reached even a fraction of that popularity, which is mind-blowing to me as it's to this very day one of my most favorite games of all time. You control 4 furry tinies of 4 different colors and you can switch between them at will. Each color offers different unique skills, from grappling hook, fire-spitting, powerful bite, all the way to swimming and bubble shooting. And by juggling these 4 tinies, you'll have 8 thematic regions full of puzzle platforming levels to beat: desert, lagoon, forest, pyramids, mountains, factory, village and a castle. All of that to save your brethren from the so-called Wicked One who transformed them all into his mindless drones. Each level is timed, and most also have hidden within them entrances to the secret and chock full of coins extra stages. These are sometimes nested within one another, so it's not unusual to find a secret stage within a secret stage. And it's worth to do so, as every 100 coins collected you are awarded an extra life. While most stages can be beaten in more than one way, sometimes even skipping entire segments, there are few, especially the shorter ones, that only have one solution. And learning them by heart is how you beat the game. The presentation, the gameplay and the music all make Fury of the Furries a gem that is as fresh today as it was in 1993. Soccer Kid is another of those games that graced us after being successful on the Amiga, and another that disappeared in the sea of other popular at the time titles, mainly early FPS and RTS games. In fact, it was the 10th most popular game on Amiga's CD32. Which, was not that difficult actually, as there's been only 147 official titles ever released for it. Anyway, evil aliens arrived, but instead of spreading death and destruction, or poisoning our atmosphere to terraform Earth into habitable for them space, they've stolen the FIFA World Cup cup. But since they're as clumsy as myself, they've shattered it, and the pieces scattered all around the world, in Britain, Italy, Russia, Japan and USA. In Soccer Kit you're, Soccer Kit, and you must recover all the pieces to save the World Cup. To do so, you're armed with the 3 most dangerous weapons known to man: bravery, your dashing looks, and your trusty soccer ball. And it's by using that last that you have to do it. So you can naturally use the ball to beat the enemies, you can use it to collect pickups, to remove obstacles, to access hidden areas, or even launch yourself upwards way higher than you could ever jump. Each country also has 11 hidden player cards in it, and you must collect them too. Soccer Kid's unique blend of physics-driven platforming and football flair was its biggest appeal, and having to learn and master the control of the ball, all the headers, bicycle kicks, aerial volleys and whatnot was what made it special. Couple it with vibrant detailed graphics and energetic soundtrack and you end up with truly hidden gem within DOS's vast library of releases. Menace is not a game that started on the Amiga, which may be surprising to you given the earlier three, but despite what it may look like, it's not that kind of a video. Although if I'm to be honest, I have one more of these Amiga originating games later on too, so I don't know. It was written, developed and had its graphics made by Jim Norwood, a solo developer that made it alone from ground up, only getting help for the soundtrack and licensing for the Commander Keen engine from id Software, and given how good of a game it is, it's a rather noteworthy mention. In Menace, you're Snake Logan, a distant cousin of Snake Plissken and Solid Snake. Those who know, know. And you're a CIA agent whose plane is shot down over a mutant city. Metro City, that is overrun by mutants, which you naturally have to dispose of using your pistol, machine gun, plasma gun, grenades and whatnot. In reality, however, the objective is to go from stage to stage, which will require unlocking of energy field that's blocking the exit. You can do it with keycards that are obtained when rescuing hostages, or with crystal shards dropped by defeating bosses. It's worth noting that certain enemies can only be killed by grenades, landmines or the plasma gun, so the sooner you learn which works on which, the better. Menace is one of the prime examples that despite EGA's limited palette and capabilities, with a bit of will and hard work, games made using the hardware can be truly stunning. Pixelated detail is spilling from the screen, and I'd risk saying that Menace could rival some of these very early VGA games in terms of its presentation. Smooth multi-directional scrolling, fluid sprite animations and action-packed gameplay spread over 36 stages is what made it such a standout title, and one definitely worth checking out. Alien Rampage is one of those late DOS platformers that hardly any retro gamer saw, heard of or even recall. It released as shareware first, and then as a full CD-ROM version couple months later in December 30th, 1996. It's an ultra-brutal, gore-heavy 2D side-scrolling platforming shooter. Your ship crash-landed on a hostile planet, overrun or inhabited, depends how you wanna look at it, by very weird, mutated-looking, grotesque animals and creatures. Since you've split from your ship before it fell to the ground like a drunk after a few too many, you must now fight your way back to it to leave the damned planet. Alien Rampage's standout features are definitely its presentation and gameplay. The first comprises of huge animated sprites, parallax scrolling and lush colorful environments ranging from deep jungles through barren alien wastelands to industrial complexes. The second is a mixture of classic multi-directional run and gunning with some light puzzling. Not gonna lie though, the emphasis is definitely on gunning and you're gonna do a lot of it, with a plethora of differently looking and working guns. You can also buy power-ups, which I would strongly suggest that you do, as Alien Rampage is not the easiest of games and the levels are rather large and take long to complete. The shareware release is composed out of 7 levels, that are then expanded by additional 6 and some hidden ones in the full commercial version. Gory sprite splashes, fun environmental puzzling and industrial sound effects round up Alien Rampage's gritty atmosphere, proving that even late 1996 DOS games innovate in sprite-based action platforming. If you're looking at Probe Entertainment's Judge Dredd and thinking that it looks like something that belongs on the consoles, then you're not wrong, as it actually originated on SNES and Sega Genesis. DOSport came a year later, but lost nothing in the translation, and it's still a side-scrolling action platformer based on the 1995's Sylvester Stallone film and the 2000 AD comics. The first few stages follow the plot of the movie before branching into comic book territory. It follows a genre classic formula of jumping, shooting and ducking, but with a twist that you can actually wound criminals until they surrender for the arrest rather than simply killing them. Can, but don't have to. The levels are quite interestingly designed and not linear, offering some simple branching with optional paths that allow you to quote-unquote pick which routes to go for and what secondary objectives to complete and secret areas to tackle first. Your iconic Lawgiver handgun uses different kinds of ammo: general purpose shells, heat seekers, ricochet missiles, incendiary missiles, armor-piercing missiles, grenades, high-explosive missiles, double whammy, which are double heat seekers, and finally Boeing Bubble, which is used to capture dark judges. As you can see, plenty of missiles. The selection is very fun to use and forces you to swap out loadouts on the fly as the action calls for it. Dredd may not be the most original shooter platformer out there, but it looks and sounds great, plays decently, offers a variety of weapons, or ammo to be precise, and some extra useful tools like anti-gravity belt, so it's a time well spent when you're in the mood for some action and just don't know what to go for. Born in the post-Soviet and newly free Poland as Electrobody in 1992 and relaunched in the US by Epic Mega Games in 1993 as Electroman, this MS-DOS platformer puts you in the shoes of a budget Robocop. Imagine the action hero you know and love, but made out of aluminum, or aluminium, depends where you hail from, and powered by farts and dreams. That kind of Electroman. Our hero named Jacek, or Jacek in Polish, is a cyborg whose family has been killed in an alien assault on a human space base. Driven by revenge and by uncomfortably sticking to his body metal parts, Jacek infiltrates the conquered complex, battling security robots, automated turrets, and alien foes to reclaim the facility. The gameplay unfolds over 8 flip-screen levels, and you must collect 3 electronic microchips in each to be able to activate the exit teleporter and progress further. It's one of those games where you need to pixel aim everything. Your movements, your jumps, especially that you have no control over them mid-air, and your shots too, as any and all contact with hazards kills you instantly. Your weapon, however, works in a rather interesting way, as it starts off with some charge, and as it depletes, your shots get weaker and weaker. But you can strengthen them by collecting battery pickups. So while it technically never changes, you do have to sort of manage its power level. Everything about Electroman feels clunky. The controls, the presentation, the weapon, and even the puzzles. But in the same time, all of it has its own unique charm and uncanny quality that make it an interesting choice and a game worth experiencing. It may not be great at anything, and it really isn't, especially because of its rather inflated difficulty, but it's good to learn why in some parts of the world where digital copyright laws barely started shaping by then, it was considered a cult classic. Inspired by the cinematic classics like Another World and Flashback, but with its action dial cranked up a notch or two, Blackthorne was a hit on the consoles. And even if its PC release failed to reach the same level, it was still a fantastic action-adventure platformer with beautiful graphics, meaty sound design, and plenty enough strategic action and puzzling to keep the gamers entertained for hours on end. Blackthorne is set on the planet 2, to which you come back after 2 decades of growing up in hiding on Earth, to overthrow the evil dictator Sarlacc, who conquered the planet and killed your father, the King. The gameplay is spread over 17 screen flipping levels across 4 core regions: the Mines of Androth, the Caroline Forest and Swamps, the Wasteland Desert, and the Shadow Keep. You are armed with upgradable shotgun, heavy metal-like haircut, wife-beater undershirt, and keen mind for puzzling, and with all of these combined, you will have your revenge. Blackthorne uses an interesting foreground/background cover mechanics, utilizing which you can hide from incoming shots, which makes for much more strategic and satisfying feeling shootouts than those found in traditional button mashers. Beautiful, super smooth rotoscoped animations, interesting locales, intelligent level design, dark and heavy atmosphere, and perfectly gauged mix of action and puzzling make Blackthorne one of the best arcade-style action platformers of its time, and a game worth adding to any retro gamer's collection. Charlie the Duck is a 2D side-scrolling platform game released for MS-DOS in 1996 by Wiring Software. If you've not heard about them, don't beat yourself about it. It's a single-person company that focused on making mainly Mario-inspired platformers in the late 90s for DOS and Windows. And most of them were actually really good. So, if you have any free time and feel adventurous, it may be fun to go through their, or his really backlog of releases, and I can pretty much guarantee that you'll love it. You play as Charlie the Duck, and you have to power through 3 worlds, split into 3 regular levels and a boss stage each, collecting coins, diamonds, lives, shields and hearts, all the while avoiding hazards and enemies. While you have no weapon per se at your disposal, you can jump on enemies, Mario style, so you're not entirely defenseless. Every 100 coins you are awarded an extra life, so whenever you see them bad boys out there in the wild, make sure to collect every single one of them. Bosses require learning their patterns and impeccable timing, but other than that they are rather fun, even if not overly imaginative. Even if Charlie the Duck features no music whatsoever, its cute sprites, backgrounds and parallaxing make it a very interesting pick for any and all fans of platformers, and especially those that feel that Super Mario-like design is the best thing that happened to the genre. You know, it may not be on the same level, but it's bloody damn close, and its 2017 freeware Windows remake polishes it even more, adding a full background soundtrack. Windows is not a subject of today's video though, so treat this comment as a slight hint what version to look for if you want an optimal experience. Superfrog hopped onto DOS in early 1994, a year after it debuted on the Amiga. It is my absolute favorite classic 2D platformer of all time. And yes, I'm including all the Mario games in that too, because I like it way more than Mario. Evil Witch kidnapped your beloved princess and turned you, a young, handsome and also terribly addicted to energy drinks prince, into a common frog. A frog that upon ingesting Lucozade turns into teacherless Superfrog, anthropomorphic hero like no other, who has an adventure and a half ahead of him to find the witch, whoop her ass, save the princess and regain your true form. Preferably all at the same time. Superfrog comprises of 24 regular levels grouped into 6 differently themed worlds. The original Amiga release also had an additional shoot-em-up stage between worlds 5 and 6, but for some reason it was dropped in the PC release. To open the passage to the next level, you must collect a certain number of coins, and since the stages are rather free-roam designed and always scrolling, you'll find many different passages leading to the same areas and even more secret hidden ones, usually full of treasures, power-ups and sometimes even extra lives. Wings pickup allows you to fly for a short while and glide when falling, green globule is your projectile weapon, and the red ball turns you invisible into quite literally a pair of floating eyes. In that form, nothing other than the spikes can harm you. Spikes always kill you, so avoid them like the plague. Or like that friend with a really bad breath and aversion to dental hygiene. In between the levels, there are slot machines in which you can use your excessive coins converted into credits to win bonuses, so extra lives, level codes and the likes. It's not really necessary for the game to be fun, but it adds a lot to the light and not taking itself too seriously atmosphere of it all. While Superfrog isn't a especially difficult game as compared to the others, for instance earlier mentioned Fury of the Furries, the challenge does ramp up with progression linearly, but it's a rather smooth and not too taxing climb. If you enjoy classic adventure platformers, there's hardly any better. And that concludes my list of overlooked and or ignored DOS platformers that deserved more attention than they received. Which of them are you loading up first? Let me know in the comments below. Smash like and subscribe for more hidden gems, and hit that bell if you don't wanna miss any uploads. Thanks for watching, stay cool and safe, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.